Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're in the shop. We picked up this 2004 Suzuki Katana. Got it fairly cheap. It hasn't run in what we know for at least a year. So today we're going to tear it down, see what it needs, and see if we can't get it running. So we picked this bike up with a couple of Suzuki GS450s. We recently just put one of those back together a couple videos ago. Now we're going to start with this one, or we're going to try and get it running today. But just a quick overview of the bike. It's a 2004 Suzuki Katana. It's a 600cc. It looks like it had been dropped on this side, which is probably why it's been repainted like this. The paint job is not good, but otherwise the bike looks like it's in fairly good shape. We picked it up as a no start. It doesn't run. That's going to be our main goal today, is figuring out what it needs so we can get some parts ordered. Then we're going to have to repaint it, and then we're going to be selling this bike because we're real quickly running out of money to build our shovelhead, and we're spending more money, so this needs to fund that project. We're going to start by hooking power up to this bike, make sure everything works before we tear it apart, and then we're going to have to drain the gas tank, probably get down to the carburetors, see what they need, maybe another rebuild, and clean them out, and then try and get this bike started. Oh, look at that. Flash it back here. Okay. Left turn signal. Yep. Right turn signal. Yep. High beam's on, low beam. What that is. We have no ignition, but it looks like the safety switch is, oh, it's just unplugged. Or okay. Okay, so we have no crank. We realized that it was unplugged. This clutch switch here is unplugged, and it's probably actually broken. So what we're going to do is jump the two together to bypass it and see if we have a crank. Yep. Okay, so we know that. Yep. Now we can start tearing the panels off of it, get down to the carburetors, make sure it has spark, and hopefully get it running. Now that we've got the carburetors out of the bike and it's all torn apart, me and Ryan are going to go over the spark plugs, make sure we have spark, see what kind of shape they're in, and then we're going to open up the airbox, see what kind of shape the filter's in, and just a general idea of what's going on here. So we know we've got spark to at least one of them. We're going to go ahead, pull all the other three out of this, clean them up still while they're out of the bike, and then we'll put them all back in. So a lot of people, when they know they need carburetor work, kind of shy away from it. It's not really that bad. I always start by ripping the fuel bowls off, and these work fairly simply. There's a needle that goes into the seat here, and then what happens is you have these floats that sit here. And as the fuel bowl fills up, it shuts off the float and it stops fuel from coming in. 90% of the time, if a bike sits for a long time, these get stuck in there. They just don't move freely. And when you start putting fuel to it, they overflow, and then you start puking fuel out of the bike.
So these ones were in good shape. They moved. We're going to put it back together. And the other main problem you run into is your jets have tiny little holes in them. And if you get bad fuel, it gums up, and then they all get stuck, and then you can't get fuel through them, and your bike won't run. Got the carburetors all gone through, as you guys saw, and bolted back onto the bike now. So we now know it has spark. We should be getting fuel. Everything's clean through. We have our generic tank we use for all these things to get run. And we're going to put some fuel in there and see if this thing will fire off. That should be good. Fuel running through the filter. Set the mood. Is that the lights? Yeah. Oh.
Now it's gonna run. Oh yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna need it. No, yeah, I should have left the choke on it. Okay, we had this sitting here running for about a minute, and I noticed that there's some oil dripping on the floor. And if I look down here, it appears to be coming off the fitting out of the engine that goes up to the oil cooler. So we'll just tighten that back up and make sure it's not leaking before we run this anymore. So the bike runs through all the gears nicely. We went all the way up to 6th gear and then back down. Shouldn't need anything else after this. We have a list of parts that we're going to collect and order up next week. I had to let the bike cool down a little bit, and these copper O-rings that were on the oil cooler line, well, I guess they weren't working. I tried tightening it up. They didn't seal up. So I found some other washers we had around here, changed them out. It's not leaking anymore. This thing is now up to temp. That's no choke. Runs, idles nice. So we're done with it for the running wise. We just need to go through it, and we're gonna paint all the body panels, put it back together, and get rid of this thing. You'll see that in another episode. that's going to be it for this week. Thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe.